Did you sort out Councillor Bradley's?
Yes. There was no petition in the last 4 years, but she still didn't ask the question.
Oh, okay. So she's going to be asking you. Yep. Okay. Councillors, welcome to the 774th Ordinary Council meeting. I declare this meeting open at 10 a.m. I would like to advise meeting attendees that this meeting is being webcasted and audio recorded. I would like to begin today's meeting by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we are gathered and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. I'd now like to go into reflection. Can the gallery please be upstanding if you're able to and join me for a moment of contemplation? Today I would like to reflect on leadership and the qualities I believe contribute to good leadership. The community has put their faith in us to lead this city into a new era. And as Mayor of Logan, I believe it is my responsibility to set the tone from the top. To me, great leaders have a clear and defined moral compass based on core values such as honesty and integrity. Great leaders are exceptional communicators. They are emotionally intelligent. They think strategically. They build relationships based on trust and respect. And importantly, they can make the tough calls and live with the consequences. I would like to share with you the following quote from Jim Rohn. The challenge of leadership is to be strong, but not rude. Be kind, but not weak. Be bold, but not a bully. Be thoughtful, but not lazy. Be humble, but not timid. And to be proud, but not arrogant. Have humour without folly. Thank you, councillors. You may sit. Leave of absences. We have no leave of absence to record. Condolences. Councillors, do any councillors have a condolence to raise? And I'll start with Councillor Bradley. Councillor Lane?
No, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Russell? Councillor?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I rise today to pass our city's condolences to the Hazlett family on the recent passing of Brock Hazlett. Many in our city are mourning the passing of a local legend. I remember when I was in school and I heard the impressive stories of Brock in the Navy, overseas lands, massive oceans and huge military machines. It was really cool, but it was far more than that. It was his public service inspiring so many others. Brock and his service to our nation is what has built our communities and our country. Good, everyday Australians contributing so much and inspiring so many. So I say this to the Hazlett family. Our city is here for you. We grieve with you and we thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your sacrifice, and thank you for your great contribution. Mr Mayor, I yield my time.
Thank you, Councillor Hermeyer. Well put. Councillor Bannon?
Not at this time, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Stemp?
Not today, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Wilcox?
Not today, Mr Mayor. Not today,
Councillor
Mr.
Murphy?
Mayor.
No. Thank you, councillors. Please stand if you're able to join me for a moment of reflection in honour of those who have gone before us, in support of those who have left behind. Thank you, councillors. Councillors, we come to congratulations. We have one congratulations report to consider. I now refer to item 5.1 of today's agenda. Councillors, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate Darryl Ross on receiving the Water Professional of the Year 2020 award recently from the Australian Water Association. This is an outstanding achievement and a testimony to the level of skill, knowledge and dedication that Darryl brings to his role on our executive leadership team. Darryl is frequently sought out as an expert with the water industry, and an accolade from his peers is certainly well deserved. Council will continue to deliver great outcomes for the city and great services to our residents with such a high calibre professional such as Darryl leading the way. My sincere congratulations for this achievement, Darryl. Councillors, please join me in a well-deserving round of applause. Darryl. I nearly insulted you there by calling you a councillor. Thank you. We got any photographers? Thank you. Thanks, Jason. Well done, Darryl. Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Well done, mate. Councillors, I now move the motion for item 5.1, which is to receive the report as a seconder for the motion. Councillor Bradley has seconded the motion. I now open the floor to vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That's been carried unanimously. Motion has been carried. Thank you. Okay, councillors, I'll open up to the rest of the councillors for congratulations. Councillor Bradley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you and congratulations to the hard and dedicated team of the Rochdale Springwood Meals on Wheels. Of particular note, Brian, Leo, Natalie and Jessica. As with many other organisations during COVID-19, their restrictions, they've worked tirelessly, and I really want to sincerely congratulate them on their hard work. And I will also put it out there that they are struggling at the moment with volunteers, so if anyone can assist, please call them or email. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bradley. That will be noted. Councillor Lane.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to offer my congratulations to Nutcha Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Corporation. They've received some training or funding for their new project, Maramu Jungu, which seeks to allow people who are accessing the criminal justice system for the first time, either as a victim or as a perpetrator, to have access to legal advice. So congratulations to Arnie Betty and the crew at Nutcha. Job well done. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Russell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This morning I'm thrilled to offer my congratulations to not one but two residents of the AVO Freedom Village up the road from my place, who are each turning the big 100 this month. So Mrs. Eileen Wood already moved into triple digits on the 5th of July, and she celebrated with a birthday party and a huge pink cake at the Hyperdome Coffee Club. She's been a resident at AVO for 8 years now and is affectionately known as the class clown. When asked for her secret to a long, happy life, Eileen said family, friends and a great sense of humour, which I find encouraging. The other special birthday being celebrated at AVO belongs to Mrs. Vera Wickings, and she turns 100 on the 15th of July. Vera and I met and spent quite a long time chatting during the campaign. She used to be a dressmaker, but's always had a keen interest in politics. She really loves her music, her friends and her food. And I really look forward to wishing them both a happy birthday in person next week. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Councillor Russell. Councillor Kerensky.
Not at this stage, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Raven. Councillor Hall.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. As the Councillor for Division 6 and the representative of the people of Division 6, I would like to pass my thanks
And congratulations to Marge Jensen, who's retiring. Marge is a founding mother of the Logan Lee Community Centre and has committed over 35 years of service. Her level of service has been second to none from what she's contributed to her community. And I'd ask for Councillor Raven to speak some kind words for her.
Raven.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I was thrilled to hear that Councillor Hall's building relationships with the parts of Division 6 that used to be in Division 5, and Marge Jensen is actually a resident of Division 5, so I just wanted to echo his words. Marge was there when the Logan Lee Community Centre was first founded, and she has been there ever since. A lot of people come and go from volunteering, but what's amazing about Marge's diligence is she didn't just stay there, and she was bookkeeper, treasurer, secretary, vice president, just about anything you can think of. Marge did it to help her community, while she was also volunteering at the Bird Breeders Association and at Rotary and at Lions, and she's just been involved in so many different parts of our community, and now she's finally taken some time for herself, which is very well deserved.
Thank you, Councillor Raven. Councillor Fraser.
None, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Hirameyer.
Not at this time, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Bannon.
Not at this time, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Stamp.
Not today, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Wilcox.
Yes. Thank you, Mr Mayor. When I was putting my post up on Facebook to the community to find out if anyone had any congratulations or condolences to be passed on this week, I was asked if I would mention a very happy 10th birthday to someone. Whilst I initially said no, I thought to myself this morning when I was typing away, turning double digits for our youth is a big deal, especially in the restrictions that we've had lately, and they haven't been able to celebrate with all of their friends. So I would like to wish a very happy 10th birthday to my youngest daughter, Ruby, and if you live in Division 11 and you're celebrating something special and would like me to mention it in Ordinary Council, please feel free to contact me. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Today I'd like to celebrate two amazing community organisations in Division 12. Firstly, Sewing for Charity. A massive congratulations to Cass Gell, her family, volunteers of the opening of the sewing lair at 30 Spans Road, Beenleigh. It was great to see so many excited residents getting involved in the classes, creating gifts, charitable items to be given away, and to shop in the op shop that they have there. The Sewing Lair assists other charitable organisations, 156 other ones throughout Australia. I'm extremely proud to have been involved in the opening of the Sewing Lair, and this community organisation now is in home of Division 12. The second organisation that I'd really like to pay thanks to is Night Watch from Nightlight. On Monday night in the freezing cold, I was lucky enough to volunteer for a few hours with 8 other volunteers and go out onto the streets of Beenleigh. In the freezing cold, we had each other to benefit from and our company to go and make sure that the streets were clean, safe, and ready for our residents in the area. We also assisted any person that was in need. The service is a positive way for our community to move forward, and I thank Johnny and Michaela for their service, their vision and their pride in the city moving forward. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Murphy. I congratulate you on your hands-on approach in regards to the issue at Beenleigh. Councillors, I'd like to go to the confirmation of the minutes of the 773rd Ordinary Council meeting held on the 17th of June 2020. I now refer to the minutes of the previous Ordinary Council meeting. I move that the minutes of the 773rd Ordinary Council meeting held on the 17th of June 2020 be confirmed. Is there a seconder for the motion? Councillor Stemp has seconded the motion. Does anyone wish to speak to the motion? No. I now open the floor to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That's been carried unanimously. The motion has been carried. Business arising from the minutes. We have no business arising from the minutes to consider, so we'll go straight into the committee recommendations. City Governance. I now refer to the City Governance Committee meeting held on the 30th of June 2020. Councillor Bradley, Chairperson of the City Governance Committee, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. And I note there are no conflicts of interest in the committee meeting that was held on the 30th of June. Before I go into discussion, do any other councillors have any conflicts of interest to declare? No conflicts of interest. I will now proceed with and speak on the recommendations, and there are a number of confidential items in the report, but I will speak on item 6.1. Of note, our council is presently at the end of May in operating deficit of $1.9 million, $1.23 million attributed to COVID-19 expenditures and impact on the organisation. Reduced revenue was due to the closure of many facilities, council's facilities, which are now open, and also development application fees were trending below budget before COVID-19 actually started to take effect and have declined further since. And it's estimated that the impacts will last for at least another 6 months. Lower than budget food business licence fees and application fees directly due to refunds processed in April under COVID-19 Phase 1 relief package. I will now call for discussion on the recommendations.
Thank you, Councillor Bradley. Is there any other speakers? No other speakers? Councillor Bradley, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I now move the recommendations of the City Governance Committee meeting held on the 30th of June be adopted.
Councillor Bradley has moved the motion, or is there a seconder to the motion? Councillor Murphy has seconded the motion. I now put this to the vote. Those in favour? That has been carried unanimously. The motion has been carried. Thank you. I now go to City Infrastructure. I now refer to the City Infrastructure Committee meeting held on the 30th of June 2020. Councillor Lane, Chairperson of the City Infrastructure Committee, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. There were no conflicts of interest declared in the committee meeting. Before we move into discussion, are there any new conflicts to declare? There being none. Mr Mayor, there were no reports for the City Infrastructure Committee meeting at the meeting on the 30th of June 2020. There were some general business items that were raised, and I now call for discussions on any of the general business items, if anyone has any.
Thank you, Councillor Lane. Do you any further councillors wish to speak on this? No?
Mr Mayor, I have my hand up.
Oh, you wish to speak? Thank you, Councillor Bradley.
Yeah, thank you. There is a general business item in relation to Centre Place and Underwood Road intersection. A couple of years ago, a report came to our council in relation to that intersection. So this report is just asking for an update on where that actual intersection sits. It's obviously on the boundary of Brisbane City Council, and there are a number of applications within that precinct in Brisbane, and also recently council officers supported or approved, I should say, a multi-storey facility that will be at that particular intersection. So I just wanted to know an update on that, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bradley. Any further speakers? No? Councillor Lane, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I now move that the recommendations of the City Infrastructure Committee meeting held on 30th of June 2020 be adopted.
Thank you, Councillor Lane. Councillor Lane has moved the motion. There is a seconder. Councillor Bannon has seconded the motion. I now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That has been carried unanimously. Oh, hang on. Councillor Wilcox. Can you please note that Councillor Wilcox has left the room? Thank you. Okay, thank you. That motion has been carried. So we'll now go to the City Planning, Economic Development and Environment Committee. So I now refer to the City Planning and Environment, City Planning, Economic Development and Environment Committee held on the 1st of July 2020. Councillor Raven, Chairperson of the City Planning, Economic Development and Environment Committee, you may proceed, and that's a mouthful.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. It certainly is a mouthful, and I'm happy to take recommendations for how we could make it a more efficient title of the committee. There were no conflicts of interest declared in the committee meeting this round. Before we go into discussion, do any councillors have any new conflicts of interest? There being none, I'll now speak to my recommendations, or to the recommendations, I should say. I know that a couple of councillors do wish to speak to items, so I won't steal their thunder. I just wanted to speak to item 6.1 and 7.2. Item 6.1 is the Upper Oxley Creek Plan, and what's significant about this environmental plan is it actually has to be delivered and managed in large part by our community. And what's fantastic is their enthusiasm and their willingness to get in there, and Council's ability to support them is so important. I'm grateful for the support that my colleagues have shown members of the community in working to make sure that this pristine area, and very much a unique area of creek catchment, is preserved for future generations. I'd also like to speak to item 7.2, and I note that it's confidential, so I won't go into it too far, Mr Mayor, but it is the on-demand curbside clean-up service options. I just wanted to say that we were not going to make the mistake that the Brisbane City Council made by taking away a love service. We want to reassure the community that whatever happens in the future, for the next year, we are making sure that curbside clean-up, which is one of the most loved services our council provides, stays exactly the way it is. Thank you very much, Mr Mayor. I now open the floor to discussion by my colleagues.
Thank you, Councillor Raven. Any other councillors wish to speak? Councillor Bradley.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. As you know, in the recording of the committee, I raised Springwood Town Square. It's my understanding there will be a workshop in relation to this, and that will be undertaken. It's my preference that a report come to Council for a direction for the future of Springwood. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bradley. Any other further speakers? Councillor Stamp.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I would like to speak to item 4.1, the proposed food and drink outlet at 258 Beanley, Redland Bay Road, Cornubra, if I may. The community approached me during my campaign voicing many concerns over the proposed development. I encouraged the community to relay these to Council during the public notification period in February 2020, resulting in 28 submissions objecting against this development. Local residents expressed their concerns to me about the increased traffic cutting through Braddon Street from California Creek Road and the associated safety concerns with children riding their bikes to and from Chisholm Catholic College on these roads. Concerns were also raised over westbound traffic along Beanley Redland Bay Road having to perform a U-turn at the Logandale Estate traffic lights to access the food and drink outlet, an intersection where there was a fatal accident in 2017. These issues were raised by the community in addition to the concerns raised in the report. Overall, the community don't believe this development is needed, as there are other similar 24-hour food and drink outlets within close proximity outside of an area zoned as rural residential park living precinct. I'm in favour of good development and creating local jobs, but good development has to be in the right location and meet a need. As a divisional councillor, I fully support the community position and pleased to see the planning scheme has protected the community, and I would like to thank my colleagues for their support. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stamp, and I support those sentiments. Councillor Raven? Councillors, any other speakers? No? Councillor Raven, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and I too want to echo the sentiments that Councillor Stamp expressed. And it's fantastic to see a brand new councillor who's so connected to her community. She's listening, she knows what they want, and when the planning scheme supports that and makes sure that what our community values, the planning scheme protects, that shows you how well it's working in the interests of our city and in future people who will live here. Mr Mayor, without any further ado, I would like to now move the recommendations of the City Planning, Economic Development and Environment Committee meeting held on the 1st of July be adopted.
Thank you, Councillor Raven. Councillor Raven has moved the motion. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Murphy has moved the motion. So I now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That has been carried unanimously. Well done. That motion has been carried. I now go to the City Lifestyle Committee. I now refer to the City Lifestyle Committee meeting held on the 1st of July 2020. Councillor Karansky, Chairperson of the City Lifestyle Committee, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. There were no conflicts of interest declared in the committee meeting, but before we move into discussion, do any councillors have any new conflicts of interest to declare? There being no conflicts, I now call for discussion on the recommendations.
Thank you, Councillor Karansky. Anyone wish to discuss anything on the agenda? No? Thank you, Councillor Karansky.
Thank you, Mr
proceed.
Mayor. I now move that the recommendations of the City Lifestyle Committee being held on the 1st of July 2020 be adopted.
Thank you, Councillor Kerensky. Councillor Kerensky has moved the motion. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Bradley has seconded the motion. I now put the matter to the vote. Those all in favour, please raise their hands. That has been carried unanimously. Thank you very much. The motion has been carried. Thank you, councillors. I now go to council reports. We have one council report to consider. I now refer to item 9.1. Before we open discussion on this item, do any councillors have a conflict of interest to declare? No? Thank you, councillors. Councillors, I just want to state that there was a little bit of a misunderstanding on this report, and rather than remove the report, I suggested that we just proceed with the report in there, but I will now be moving a motion to receive the report as there was just a misunderstanding on it. Do I have a seconder on that? Councillor Bradley has seconded the motion. Do any councillors wish to speak to the motion? No? I now open the floor to vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Thank you, councillors. That motion has been carried. Late reports. We have no late reports to consider. Petitions. Do any councillors have a petition to present? Councillor Bradley.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I don't actually have a petition to present, but at the last council ordinary meeting, I asked Acting CEO Sylvia Trinker if there were any petitions that have been presented for the intersection of Rochdale Road and Priestdale Road over the last couple of years. So I'm just wondering if you have that answer, please.
Through you, Mr Mayor. Thanks, Councillor. We've done a search and the only petition that we could identify was a petition back in 2012, which you presented on behalf of residents, requesting that we write to Brisbane City Council, which we followed up on.
Thank you.
Any other councillors with petitions? No? Okay. Consideration of notified motions. We've no notified motions to consider, so therefore we're up to GB. I now open general business discussion. Do any councillors have general business to discuss? I will start at Councillor Russell. No. Councillor Kerensky.
Mr Mayor, with your indulgence, I just wanted to speak on a moment about leadership. In your opening address, you talked about the value of leadership, and I'd like to commend the councillors here on showing leadership with regard to supporting our small businesses in what's been a challenging time with COVID-19. And most recently, as you would recall, on Friday evening, you and I had the opportunity to visit Greg Tinson's Domino's Pizzas out in Yarrabilba, and this is a cracking small business that really does punch above its weight. Whilst we were out there, we got to see some of the amazing innovation that they're driving through their pizza shop, and they own a number of pizza shops right across Logan, and I believe another one is opening soon. But one of the things Greg highlighted was what a great job this council's doing, and he wanted to thank this council for providing COVID-19 support and support with business licensing fees. So I did just want to provide that feedback that is actually reaching out into our community, and our community value it tremendously. And I might add, nice job on the pizza, Mr Mayor, but at the end of the day, I believe I was the winner of the pizza challenge.
Thank you, Councillor Kerensky, and there's always pineapple on my pizza. Councillor Raven. Councillor Hall.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to propose the following general business item be recommended. That the Roads Infrastructure Planning Manager, in conjunction with the Health, Environment and Waste Manager, be requested to prepare a report to a future City Infrastructure Committee meeting investigating the viability of converting concrete line drainage channels into natural channels designed using the channel behind the Bethania swimming pool next to Radke Road as a case study, and if successful, detailing the potential opportunities for further conversions and funding. The reason behind this is I believe that we have several opportunities throughout Logan to convert cement channels into natural waterways, and the reason for this is it will provide a safe area for our wildlife and many of the animals that live around Logan to have safe drinking water. It'll also provide the children of Logan an area where they can go and be close to nature. And I believe this is fairly important because with so much development happening around the area, we need to give something back to the environment, and we need to safeguard some areas for our children to enjoy the natural environment as well.
Councillor Hall, I've seen the photos. I think you're on a good thing here. I think you've done a bit of homework, and I congratulate you on your work on this. I think this is a great idea. Is there any other councillors wish to speak on this? Councillor Bradley?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I do actually wish to second the motion, as I'm very supportive of this type of these types of projects and have done a number of them in Division 1. So I very much look forward to the outcome of this.
Okay, Councillor Bradley has seconded the motion, but I will allow other councillors to speak. Councillor Raven, you wish to speak?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So I'm very excited to see what you're going to come up with here, Councillor Hall, because the back of Crestmead and Marsden has a lot of these concrete channels, and they're actually, over time, they deteriorate and they become dangerous for members of the community who even just use it as walking areas and pets and also for wildlife. So I'm very excited to see a young councillor getting on, a new councillor, I should say, because I think I'm only a little bit older than you. I'm excited to see what can come of this, because if it's successful, I'd like to roll it out in Division 5 as well. I didn't actually know that Councillor Bradley had already been doing it, otherwise I would have copied her good idea much sooner as well, because it is a problem that's been bugging me for a long time, and I'm excited to see that a new councillor is the one who's leading the way on solving it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Raven. Any other councillors? No? Councillor Wilcox.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Firstly, I'd like to congratulate all of the residents of Logan for doing so well with adhering to the Queensland COVID
No, this is in regard to... Is this in regard to...
oh, no, sorry.
No worries. That's okay. Thanks, councillors. The motion has been put by Councillor Hall and been seconded by Councillor Bradley. I'd now like to put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? That has been carried unanimously. Well done. Councillor Fraser, general business.
I have no GB today, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Hiramai.
Not at this time, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Bannon.
Yes, I do, Mr Mayor. Just come to me just then, just for the benefit of the viewers at home and the people listening to the recording. When it comes to city infrastructure and city lifestyle, when there was no business, I just don't want people at home to think that we're not doing any work. It's just that the entire organisation is pretty much working around the clock at the moment to save money for the budget. So I'm sure the next reports will have plenty of work in there. It's just the organisation can only do so much, and they're putting an incredible amount of work into saving the budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Stemp.
Not today, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Wilcox.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Apologies, I got a bit excited then. Firstly, I'd just like to congratulate the residents of Logan for doing so well adhering to our COVID restrictions over the past couple of months. This has allowed the state government to ease into stage 3 restrictions a week earlier than expected. With the restrictions easing, so long as COVID plans are in place and social distancing is adhered to from July 3rd, it has allowed the private gatherings of up to 100 people to meet, contact sport to return to play, changes in churches and places of worship, and more venues and events have reopened, allowing either 25,000 spectators or 50% capacity, whichever is lesser, at Queensland sport facilities. In Division 11 specifically, we are now seeing more sporting and community groups able to resume, with Flagstone Netball Club, Greenbank Raiders, Teviot Soccer Club all resuming training, and Parkridge Active Riding Group are resuming this weekend. Greenbank Scout Groups is back on July 13th, and I've also had Flagstone Community Centre, Enriching Communities at Everleigh, and Pete Flagstone all running activities and various community groups, hosting various community groups throughout each week. Men's sheds at Parkridge and Munrooban have also resumed, and I can't wait to pop in and meet you all. So congratulations to the clubs for resuming, and I'm sure that we will see more come back in the next coming weeks, with more interest from children and parents, especially with the state government releasing 73,000 fair play vouchers valued at $150 each, allowing our local sport clubs to nurture and grow in these tough times that they've had. I'd also like to echo Councillor Karansky by encouraging our community to support local, stay local, by supporting our local sporting clubs and businesses so that they too can get back on their feet, continue to grow and strengthen in our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wilcox. Councillor Murphy.
None at this time, Mr Mayor. Thank you.
Councillor Bradley.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. As you realise, Anzac Day didn't go as planned this year. and instead we had the dawn services on our driveways. Springwood Tri-Services RSL sub-branch have used some of the funds that they normally would use for their actual event to create the most beautiful book here. So it's called Remember Lest We Forget. It actually is targeted at children, and it is so beautifully illustrated. So the RSL have actually presented this to me, and I would like this actually to go into the Logan North Library so that others can take advantage of it and utilise it in future projects or find out, the stories of the Anzacs. Springwood is the focus at the moment, with recently a new application in council for a 8-storey code accessible application at the corner of Paxton Street and the service road in Pacific Highway Service Road in Springwood. This is really an exciting application, as it's going to be a Springwood health hub, and with offices, a shop, food and drink outlet, 111 car park spaces. As I said, it's code accessible, so it's legally allowed under our planning scheme, and it's pleasing to note that it will be facing the M1, so people can see that Springwood is starting to take off. And as I said earlier, I'm looking forward to the council making a future direction of how they would like to see Springwood progress. As previous councils have said, they would like it to be the second CBD for the state. And it certainly is, despite all the COVID-19 downturn, it is still progressing. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bradley. Councillor Lane.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Community Benefit Fund is an important part of funding that our local groups come to rely on. It offers support to them when they need to do things like fix holes in sporting grounds, install new windows, and generally get on with the job of providing for the community. I'm really happy to announce that Woodridge Scouts, Mission Possible, Woodridge Kingston Lions Club, Logan City Cricketers Association and the Family Place have all benefited from Logan City Council's Community Benefit Fund in this round. I know that Mission Possible is already putting the money to good use, and the cricketers have their first meeting this Sunday, and they will actually be meeting on repaired fields. So thank you very much to the council for assisting them.
Thank you, Councillor Lane. Councillors, we come to the end of the meeting. I just want to make a short statement. I know that I set the bar high with my reflections reading this morning, but I think there's something we need to aim for. And I acknowledge that we're a human and we do make mistakes and we are imperfect. But I think we need a goal. And to be honest, I have to say at this point in time, and we've just finished up with the budget, that you're travelling very nicely. You've been very responsible, you're very keen, and I couldn't be more prouder than working with you guys. This world is in short supply of good leadership, and it's not necessarily the popular decision we're looking for, it's the right decision. And I think you're probably familiar with that, particularly with the borders being closed. The right decision was made, even though the media was attacking the Premier. The right decision was made, and we only reflect now that that was a good decision. So with that, congratulations. The budget is coming up. It may not be popular, but I'll tell you what, it'll stand the test of time and it will be responsible. Thank you very much. Meeting's finished at 10:38. Thank you, councillors.